Welcome to Tiger Talk, episode 48. This episode is brought to you by Rigatoni. When you're feeding a lot of people, but you don't want to pay a lot to feed them. You know, it is amazing. I love going to all the things. Thank you so much. I have a lot to edit later this week. There will be a half-hour documentary about the Massillon McKinley week coming out through Tiger Talk. We don't want to mess it up with this. I got a lot of editing to do. But I can't believe after eating rigatoni at all those places that I drove down to Columbus to see the family. And I am not joking. Rigatoni is what they had. And I was like, of course. That was my week. It was rigatoni week. Becca, welcome to the show. And how was your week?
It was amazing, Scott. Thank you. It was a lot of fun.
It was. And Nate, welcome to the show. Congratulations on win number 9.
Yeah, thanks a lot. It was a big week, big win, and we're happy to be moving on to week 11 at 8-2.
It's very, very exciting. And who do we have on the show today, Becca?
Well, I'll have them introduce yourselves, say your name and number, and favorite memory of the week.
I'm Jaden Williams, number 9. Linebacker junior. And my favorite memory this week is probably the pep rally on Friday at school.
Mike Carter, number 45. My favorite memory of this week, probably my block punt. Yeah.
I love that memory, Big Mike. Tell me about the block punt. And I don't specifically remember you getting a block punt before. Was that your first?
This year, maybe.
This year,
definitely this year, but
yeah, my first this year. Like my third, probably all time. Probably.
Interesting. How did you block the punt? Take us through the play.
Well, I was pointing to Max. I said Max. Isaac's gap. So the guy that's supposed to block me picked up Isaac, and so I just took off running. And they had a gap in between the little shield defenders. So I just jumped between the gap.
Were you mad Milan didn't scoop it up and run for a touchdown?
Yes. After I went back and watched it, I'm like, you smell the green grass.
Like, I mean, it's Milan. He's supposed to have good hands, right?
It's supposed to. Yeah.
And then also later when the quarterback fumbled in the end zone, the ball just seemed to sit there forever. I thought, fall on it, it's a touchdown. But we didn't get that either. But it really seemed like a safety, right? It was a safety and they just didn't call it, Nate? Or was it not because he stepped out? Did you watch the film?
Yeah. It was not a safety.
Okay.
Because he was tackled outside of the end zone. He recovered it in the end zone, but I was surprised they ruled it a fumble. He didn't throw his bag, which usually happens when they see a fumble. I thought it was a forward pass, which would beg the question: was it intentional grounding? Which would be a safety.
Oh, okay. So then that's funny.
There was a running back that was engaged in a block that was somewhat around the throw. But that I thought it was a forward pass at the time. I was a little confused as to why they weren't blowing the whistle. And there was no beanbag, which usually happens if it's a fumble. So it was a strange play to say the least.
Yeah, it definitely was. I want to go back to Jaden picking the pep rally. What was your favorite activity at the pep rally? Because they really put on, it's not like they just like are screaming TIG for an hour. That is a full-on production show.
Yeah, from what I remember, it was a lot of like new games the students played. And like one I remember specifically when the football players went out there. I think it was like Big Mike was out there. And who else was out there with you?
It was Mookie.
Oh yeah, Mookie and all that.
DJ and Carl.
Yeah, they were on scooters and they were supposed to use a plunger.
Plunger.
And Mike was cheating so bad.
Mike cheated.
Oh man.
Mookie cheated, Carter cheated. I think they all cheated, and I was just laughing the whole time.
Because you were supposed to like use the plunger, and you could only push with the plunger, but nobody
They
could
weren't
do
getting
it.
anywhere.
They weren't getting anywhere.
I don't know who
And
that
Big
was.
Mike couldn't really fit on the
Yeah, so the bigger guys couldn't fit on the
Like-
scooter. They
like-
were the little kindergarten scooters.
yeah, their butt cheeks couldn't even get on those scooters. It was awesome. It was so fun.
Yeah, that was actually, I liked that, and I like when the cheerleaders dance with teachers. And my question is, Becca, why has no one asked you to dance to that?
I'm not a high school teacher, so usually it's the high school teachers.
Yeah, I think they're picking WHS
Yeah.
staff. There.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. Because I was like, I would like to see, I feel like next year you and Nate participate. What are you both shaking now? Big Mike says yes.
Well, Eli will be a senior, so that would be a great time
She's
for
got to
him.
do the mom's dance.
Oh.
next year.
Oh, that is right.
Oh, that's true, because she'll be a Tiger mom
Yeah.
for the seniors.
Yeah.
How did you feel, Big Mike, about watching your mom out there dancing, carrying that sign around?
I don't know, a little weird, but it was cool. I guess. Like,
I think the moms dancing is a neat tradition. I like seeing the moms get out there and having their kind of moment because it's a big deal. It's a big deal being a Tiger mom, and certainly when you're a Tiger mom senior. Last McKinley game, that's a big deal. It's nice to see the moms out there having a good time.
And I will say one of my favorite moments is like the moms like did their little routine and then they came over and hugged their senior. And Nolan's mom couldn't get to him because the cheerleaders were sitting there, and Nolan made sure he stood up and like went over to his mom. And I got a little teary eyed because I thought that was really sweet. Like, there's a lot of people watching you, and he didn't, made sure his mom knew that he appreciated her. And I thought that was a pretty cool moment to see.
Well, Nolan also did something else at the pep rally that I really liked. When Coach called over Cam,
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah,
and Nolan went over to sort of spot him, and that made me feel good. It's nice to see that camaraderie around everyone. So
Yeah.
I liked that. So here was my nervous part of the Massillon McKinley game. There was a part of that game that really had me worried that I was going to be in some major trouble. 5 seconds to go in the half. What did you guys do? What was the play? 5 seconds to go in the half.
Kick the field goal.
Kicked a field goal. I had just picked last week when McKinley tried to kick a field goal and it got blocked and they ran it back for a touchdown. I just picked that as my favorite play. And when you guys set up for that, I thought, oh my gosh, what if this gets blocked and returned for a touchdown? Everyone's going to be mad at me for picking that the week through. That did not happen. Tell me about Mateo's field goal.
I mean, it ended up being a huge part of the game. Made it a 2-score game, which really changed the dynamic of the game and how they had to play offensively and how we could play defensively. And our defense, you played unbelievable all night. That field goal, pushing it to a 2-score lead was a huge part of that.
And I talked to Mateo like after the game because he's only a sophomore, so he's young. And I said, so what happened the first kick? Because it's tough sometimes when those kickers miss a field goal. They kind of can sometimes get in their head. And he said he walked me through exactly like what happened. And he said, but I was on to the next play. And it was so cool to like hear him like say that because, as you know, what does Coach Moore say when something bad goes on?
don't turn one bad play into 2 bad plays.
Mm-hmm. On to the next. So it's just really cool to hear the younger guys. They follow these guys. They're, he's only a sophomore. He's already, that's already being instilled in him. And I thought, that was really cool because Mateo's been so accurate and just being young and having not missed a field goal before, sometimes in those big games and you miss one. I mean, that's happened before, so it was really cool to see him. Like he's already bought in, he's got it, it was pretty neat.
Yeah, I mean, kicking a field goal in a Massillon McKinley game with as time expires in the half, I mean, that's a lot of pressure. And he nailed it. It was perfect. And it did change the game. So this is the third time we've not scored in the second half, and it really reminded me of the state championship game and the other Hoban game where we won, that we sort of had that mindset of running the clock out and knowing the defense was going to hold them. Was that pretty much the game plan for the second half?
I mean, the game plan was to score some points. It doesn't always work out like that. You got to give some credit to McKinley that their defense played really, really well and made life hard on us. And so when that happens, having a defense that can answer the bell time and time again, and hold the opposing offense enough points is it's unbelievable. I mean, those guys played really, really well.
The thing that I thought about that game is McKinley was playing like a team that was trying to save their coach's job. And I thought, how hard is it to coach against a team that's literally trying to say your job was not in jeopardy if you lose that game? No one's going to be happy with you, but you weren't going to get fired the next day. And that's how I viewed that game, that they came in there trying to save his job. I kind of hope they did because I think they actually should.
I don't know. I mean, it's a rivalry game, I think that's what you're going to get most of the time is the best effort out of both teams. I thought our kids went out and played hard, and their kids went out and played hard. And we certainly had some mistakes out on the field that we'd like to have back. But that was a good old fashioned, hard fought rivalry game, hard hitting, physical. Both offensive and defensive lines, playing hard in the trenches, and some skill guys making some plays on both sides of the ball. That's the way that game's supposed to be.
Yeah.
I'm certainly happy that the Tigers came out on top. But it was an exciting game to be a part of, and we're like I said, we're happy to come away with the win. Tip of the hat to Cam McKinley for playing really hard and making that a hard fought victory for us, and we get to move on in the playoffs at 8-2.
So I thought, just a shout out to the fans too. I thought a lot of people showed up, which was really nice on both sides. It was packed, and my mommy B is no longer allowed to buy tickets because this is the first year I allowed her to buy tickets. So I have 8 or 9 of my family members and friends that come down or come up from Dayton. And I was like, well, where are they sitting? She's like, oh, I bought them like under the roof. I'm like, under the roof? I was like, you can't buy tickets under the roof. So I looked at them like, that's section 15. That's over there. So you could see 9. They all had orange on and they sat there, but they said, everybody was rooting. Nobody was crazy. And, they enjoyed a good game. And it was really nice. And I recognized, I went over to say hi to them and recognized a couple people and hugged a couple McKinley people. And I thought everybody was, in a decent mood. And it was kind of like the freshman game. Our freshman game was very competitive. It went down to the last play, and it was an exciting game. But what did you think about the defense? What did you think about the offense?
Well, I really think the defense played really well. I feel like they stepped up when they had to. On the other side, I mean, the offense played good too, but you got to give props to McKinley. They played better than I would say we expected. But we played good too, even though it was a little sloppy and stuff can get cleaned up. But either or, I think both teams and both sides of the ball played well.
You tell me about the crowd. How did you feel about seeing Paul Brown totally full? What does that do to your game? Tell me about that for you.
It's like a positive and a negative, really. I just can't hear. Like, I try to key in on the center and the QB snap count so I can just know when to go. And like when it was so loud, like I think it was like third down, it was so loud, I just couldn't hear. Like I couldn't hear like Isaac next to me. Can't hear Isaac. He's literally right next to me. So I'm just timing it up, trying to time it up, and I just mistimed it. That's one negative That's one negative I can say about that. Like I missed time that because I couldn't hear. I just couldn't hear. But a positive is like it's the energy boost. When the defense go on the field, players jumping around, stadium yelling, screaming, whole place is rocking. It's an energy boost. Like it gives you like more attributes, like +5 attributes.
Definitely. I love it that when I was younger, way long ago, that's really how every game was. It really was filled like that. And I wish it was still that way, but times have changed, the city's smaller. But to me, that's what a Massillon game should feel like. That's why I love Paul Brown Tiger Stadium, because it's the right size where you can really fill that in. And it looks that way. So I thought because the regular season is over, I wanted to throw a question out to everyone. And looking back on the season, because we know we're never allowed to look back, but this is our quick time to look back. What is the highlight of this season for everyone? We'll start with you, Jaden.
I think something that stuck with me is probably definitely week one. We never really traveled that far, well up to another side of the U.S. So we went out there to Oregon, really our first time playing together, a lot of first-time starters. And I feel like we played really well. We came together as a team. And, it wasn't our best game as far as, like, penalty-wise, but I feel like we got the job done and we got the win.
Mike?
Mine is probably be my tennis game. Well, after tennis game, just looking back, my mom showed me all the comments about me and Jay Will, like we was the best duo in Ohio and stuff like that. So that really made me like have like I got somebody that got my back throughout football.
I think you got a whole town that has your back. Becca, what about for you?
I think for me, it would be the trip to Oregon because, kids always talk about how they want to play on the next level. And so I think that when they realize like there is no downtime, like basically you're owned when you're traveling, everything's filled in. There isn't. They were like, oh, we just want to go to bed, or we just want to. I was like, welcome to college. Oh yeah, and add on top of it that you'll have 15 hours of classes. You guys, because we hadn't started school or they hadn't started school yet. So I think like that was a good experience. And then they got back and seeing them having to, get their first 3 days of work done and catch up, like what that's like. And that's what college is like, whether you play D3, 2, 1, it doesn't matter. Like you're traveling, you got to get your work done, and they own you. They tell you where to be and what time. So seeing the kids having those aha moments was really cool. And then just being able to experience that with the city of Massillon and all the people that showed up out there just made you so thankful that you are part of something so much bigger than people understand.
Coach?
Yeah, that was so well said. I don't know that I can add to that. Week one was certainly a great memory, going on that trip with all these guys. The Eds game is definitely memorable. Getting that win at Eds was definitely memorable. And, this past Saturday, all those, I think sometimes you have a tendency to get a little spoiled, when you've had so much success like we have had. And, those, a win in that game is so sweet. And, it's such a great rivalry. And part of me is glad that it was a hard fought victory. That's what it should be. And, I think we're all going to look back and remember that crowd, which did incredible, and what the stadium felt like, and the energy and whatnot. And, and I think those three are the ones that really stand out.
I mean, I think for me, it's hard to say, but it could be that I got a Krause's gift certificate from Jalen's grandma because I got him to talk on Tiger Talk. So could be getting that, might be my memory from the season. But actually, it would be definitely winning at St. Ed's. There was a lot of extras for that. So we have the first playoff game, which is what it is. And I guess tell us a little bit about the game, just a little bit, and then we'll wrap it up.
And so our week 11 game is at home against a team called Licking Heights. They're east of Columbus, around like the Newark area, I believe. They don't have a great record, as you might expect, being what are they? They're probably the 14th seed in playoffs. But that's what they wanted. As far as the state, and so we're gonna play the 14th seed in our region. And so they do have some good players. They do have some size up front. They've got a linebacker, running back that's committed to Robert Morris, good player. But yeah, not we just need to go out and play.
Right.
Massillon Tiger football. We want to play a good, clean game. And execute all three phases, and get on to week 12.
Of course. And Becca, why do you look different today? Why do you seem like you're different?
I was building a deck
No, that's not it.
Oh.
That's not it.
Oh, that's right. I am now an award-winning author, along with my co-host, Scott Ryan, but it says that he's the author. So we found out while you guys were winning that our book, Massillon Against the World, from last year got first place in nonfiction memoirs, because that's what our book is about. And then we got second place in nonfiction entertainment and second place in nonfiction sports. So it's like a pretty big deal. And I got to speak at the Hall of Fame.
I know, we had quite a week. I like that
we
we're award-winning authors now.
Yeah, and now we get to say we're award-winning authors.
Nice.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah, thank you.
Pretty cool. I've written 10 books. This is the 10th book I finally win award. How many have you written?
What?
One. Yeah. Great.
My
That
first
seems
one
fair.
ever. That seems
But it is funny. We literally won it during the Massillon McKinley game. I wasn't checking my emails, and my business partner, David Bushman, after the game said, "Hey, Massillon won." And I said, "Yeah, I know. I'm excited."
Sounds like you need to see if you can get her under contract for another couple books there, Scott.
I know. I mean, that's what we need to do. Maybe she could tell her life story or something. That'd be crazy. All right. Well, thanks. Really, seriously, players and coaches, that week is ridiculous. I don't know how you do it, and you do it and you win. That's incredible. I mean, good job.
Yep.
But I do want a decade of winning. Sorry. We need one more win.
For a decade.
Yeah,
All
we
right.
need-
So, until next time, TIG.
ERS.